Imagine having the time and money to follow your passions and live life on your own terms. Welcome to Podcasting Mastery, where you'll learn the secrets of podcasting your way to a stress-free lifestyle. Let's grab a cool tropical drink and then join James and the Turtle in the Secret Beach Hut Studio.
Yes, this is James Martell, and I am tucked into the Secret Beach Hut Studio, and I'm very glad you've decided to join us today. This week, I will be continuing our conversation about developing a lifestyle business so we can all spend less time doing business and more time enjoying our families, more time traveling, and more time doing all of the things that matter to us most. It's for these reasons we continue to focus on strategies for both developing a passive monthly income stream and passive ways of developing new clients and customers for your business. So with this in mind, I'm here today with Ravi Jayagopal, host of SubscribeMe.fm, and we're going to be talking about how to see all of your iTunes reviews from all 155 of their supported countries. We're also going to talk about how you can then easily share those reviews on social media, which will help you not only build your social proof, and therefore also help you increase your listener base and downloads. We're also going to touch upon how to monetize your podcast with a membership site, how to dramatically improve the shareability and look of your podcasting player, and a ton more. Now, before Ravi joins us, just a quick invitation to subscribe if you haven't done so already to Podcasting Mastery to unleash your podcasting potential with expert interviews and advice from some of the top podcasters on the planet. You can do so by clicking on that subscribe now button if you happen to be on iTunes or on our website or on our new YouTube channel. I just invite you to take a moment right now and just go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Now, Ravi is also the co-founder and co-developer of DigitalAccessPass.com, a premier membership platform for WordPress. Creator behind CoolCastPlayer.com, a powerful, shareable podcasting player for your WordPress-based website that looks absolutely great. And he's also the host of SubscribeMe.fm and developer or co-developer behind PodcastReviews.me. Ravi will also be speaking at Podcast Movement 2018 in Philadelphia later this month. Ravi, welcome back to Podcasting Mastery.
Hey, James, thank you so much for having me. I think we have set a record now for me being back like probably third time or something.
You do have the record. You're we've had a chance to talk about a number of things, and if you keep producing these amazing tools for podcasters, like we're going to have you back over and over again.
Sounds good.
I'm excited about that. So let's do this. Now, I know you work alongside your wife, Veena.
Correct.
And you guys, you betcha. You're a powerhouse team. And you develop a lot of amazing tools and software, not only for podcasters, for internet creatives, for marketers of all kinds. Anybody that's really wanting to tackle the internet, you've got probably a tool for. So before we get into some of those, why don't you take a moment and just share what you've been up to, talk a little bit about your story, and maybe how you work together with your wife.
Yeah, so we both quit our jobs in like 2009, and DAP started taking off around that time. So we moved from New York to San Diego, and we have been working ever since together. Right now, she works very hard, and I hardly work. So that's our combination. But she is the face of the franchise. She leads the development and the support team, and so we try to fill in the gaps of what we both have similar skill sets. We are both kind of alpha in a certain way. Like we are both very smart. She's way smarter than me and way better looking as well. But I try to slide into her DMs, and so I try to make myself look important and stuff by picking up certain things that she has no time for. So that's how it's been work in progress for a few years, mainly because of how we both, our personalities and our skill sets are very similar. So over time, we have figured out that how not to constantly step on each other's toes. And we finally figured out a very comfortable thing. She does all the work. I take all the credit. So we finally arrived at a peaceful medium.
I don't think we'll let her listen to this episode. I just have a feeling it probably would go over too well. And
no, actually, this is the episode you should get a little listen, because then I get a lot of brownie points, right?
Absolutely. So you started in 2009, so I guess that means you're in your 10th year.
For DAP, we started in 2008, but I've been selling online since 1997, 98, around that area. So I've been pretty much 20 years now, selling online, creating products for marketers and stuff. And in early 2000, I had launched a suite of scripts called, initially I started by calling it Webmaster in a Box. And then Google slapped me because some guy hacked me, and I hacked my site and put a whole bunch of bad links on my site. So then I had to switch to mywebmasterinAbox.com, which is since no longer active for many, many years now. And DAP took over that.
Well, I'm moving from you said New York City over to San Diego. San Diego is one of my favorite cities on the continent. San Diego actually reminds me a lot of Vancouver in the summertime up in British Columbia, Canada, where I live. And in the summertime, you cannot beat the weather here. It's gorgeous, 80 degrees. No rain, no humidity, just beautiful. But when I go down to San Diego, that's pretty close to year-round, it seems.
Yeah, you have really good weather. And actually, it's funny you say San Diego is one of your favorite cities, because Vancouver is probably one of our favorite cities. We were there last year. 2 years ago, we went to Toronto. Last year, we went to Vancouver. So we kind of tried to cover a little bit of Canada. And, by far, one of our top cities, Vancouver, beautiful weather. People are very, very kind and very nice, and we've seen the other spectrum of people as well. Being from New York and stuff, so lovely place, lovely people. So we really enjoyed our vacation there.
It's great. Now, one of the main components of this podcast is lifestyle, and developing a lifestyle business so we can all spend, as I said at the top of the show, less time doing business, because sometimes we do a little too much, and more time enjoying our families, and more time traveling, and more time doing all of the things that matter to us most. Now, you are in that position, and of course, you've had the ability to move. What's it been like for you to have the freedom to basically pick up, move across the country, and literally be able to work from wherever you want?
Yeah, that was a huge part of my growing up, because my father was an entrepreneur. He was a film director and writer and lyricist. So he was always working from home, and he had a lot of time to spend with me and stuff. So it was always there at the back of my mind that I wanted to do that someday. And eventually, when we got to do it and we got our green card, one of the reasons we had to delay so much was because we had to wait for our green card to be able to do certain things. Until then, we had to have a job. So that finally happened in 2009, and that's when my wife quit. And then a few months later, I quit. And then we said, okay, we can go anywhere, and all we need is an internet connection and good weather, because we had been in New York for 10 years, and we were tired of, at least I was tired of, having to shovel the snow and from the driveway, and it's cold weather, 6 months a year. And so we wanted to go where there was nice weather. And we asked friends and family, and kind of shortlisted it to Austin, because there's IT sector there. So we wanted to have a plan B if something didn't work out, because both of us had worked for a very long time. And we were not sure if something went wrong. We wanted to be able to get a job. So luckily, it never came to that. So we finally settled with San Diego, and we haven't looked back ever since.
Austin's another one of my favorite cities in the U.S. I've had a good chance to be there two times, yeah. But hot, summertime, too hot.
Yeah, first time we went there to check out houses and stuff, it was 115 degrees, and my kids did not want to leave the hotel room, and we were like, okay, this is not going to work out. And they didn't even want to come see the houses because they're it's too hot. And even though we tried to entice them with a house with a pool and stuff, but they didn't care. And then that's when we said, okay, let's check out San Diego, and the weather was really nice. So
let's start off with iTunes. For new listeners, Ravi, if you could explain why iTunes reviews are important.
I wouldn't say important in the sense that you need to know what people are saying, and you need some social proof. Even though most people don't necessarily see reviews before signing up, it still acts as a very important meter in trying to tell somebody else. It's third-party social proof, right? So if somebody wants to interview you or have you as a guest on their podcast, and you don't have many other products or services, you're not famous in the community yet, but you have a podcast, and if they go to your podcast, they'll usually check on iTunes, right? And if they see 0 reviews, even though you may have a lot of listeners, it's not so great compared to, say, you having 50 or 100 or 200 reviews. So it automatically sets you apart when you have a whole bunch of reviews, even though it doesn't directly help you land new subscribers, because the Apple algorithms don't necessarily look for ratings and reviews. They look for recent subscriptions. But if you flip it back, you sometimes get more subscriptions because of the reviews when people look at them. And it can help establish, it's almost like going to an Amazon product on Kindle and you find 2 products. One has 35 reviews, another has 2 reviews. Which one are you more likely to buy, right? Obviously, Amazon, you're paying for something. Here it's free, but still, it's not fully free because people are paying for it with their time. You only have so many hours in a day, and you can only listen to so many podcasts, and you only have energy to try so many new podcasts, right? Not everybody's going around looking all the time, what new podcast can I listen? Because if you've been listening for more than a few months, you probably settled on a comfortable sequence of podcasts, and you're happy with that. And occasionally you do come across people talking about it on the web, or you just go looking for new stuff if one of your favorite shows the season ended or something like that. So people don't necessarily look for a podcast all the time, but when they do, you want to be there. You want to be there with some social proof, and that's where iTunes reviews are really, really, the ratings and reviews really help, because it straight away tells a stranger who's trying to compare who's trying to choose you versus something else. Remember, even though, in podcasting, we are all an amazing community and we all promote each other and stuff, at the end of the day, we are all still competing for somebody's time. There are only so many shows you can listen to about, membership sites, or so many shows you can listen to about true crime, whatever your favorite genre is. So we are competing for somebody's time, and there's so limited time because people are not necessarily, forget the super users. The average person, I think, listens to like an hour or something like that of podcasts a week. So it is skewed by the power users, and it's skewed by the non-listeners who barely listen. But if you have like only 1 or 2 hours and you're competing for 20 minutes or 30 minutes of that, you have to have some social proof.
So now, with that in mind, of course, it's great to be able to have a look at all of your reviews. And I know, as a host of Podcasting Mastery, and I do some educating on the topic of podcasting, quite often I get the question, why can't I see all my reviews? Why don't you address that? Because that's a very common problem that people have. They know they've got more reviews than they can see,
right?
But they don't know why.
So that's the problem with the iTunes, the way the software is arranged. Is when you log into iTunes, it logs you in from the country that you signed up with originally. So if you were originally in Canada or United States or France or wherever it is, that's where your iTunes logs you into that country's store. So that's why if you're US-based, everything else in the store is US-based. It's almost like Canadian Amazon versus French Amazon versus US Amazon. The products you see, the products that are recommended, the popular products, everything is based on that country's preferences. So same way iTunes also shows everything, the podcast, top rated episodes, including your own reviews. Everything is based on the country that you're logged into. So if you're in the US and you go to your iTunes store page and you see this happened to me for a long time, you go in there and you see that you have, say, 78 reviews. But you scroll down on the iTunes reviews, ratings and reviews tab, you'll see like 30. Where is the rest of it?
Yeah.
And normally what you have to do is you have to scroll to the bottom of iTunes, the desktop version, and you'll see your flag, your country's flag icon. You click on that, and then it takes you to another page where you'll see, US, Canada, all the countries that you may have selected in the past, or it'll basically shows you all 155 countries icons, and you select one by one. So you start with whatever Albania or whatever the A country is, the first one. Then you click OK. Then it takes you right back to the iTunes homepage, and then you have to search for your podcast one more time. Then you click on the results. Then you go to the next page where it shows all results. Then you click on your own podcast. Then you go to your podcast page. Then you switch to the ratings and reviews tab. And now you get to see the reviews from Albania, which will probably be 0, right? Yeah. And now you get to do this all over again 154 more times. So that's the fun part. And there's no way in iTunes to see all of the reviews, and it also doesn't know which country you have reviews from. So it's not like when you go to the country icon, the page which shows all the icons from all the countries. It's not like there's a little, in brackets it shows like this one has 2, that one has 7. So you can't even see. It's you're flying blind, and you have to pretty much go into every country. And you might think that you have reviews from certain countries, but there's no way to know for sure, because from the time I've launched podcastreviews.me, I've got responses saying, I didn't know this, that I had listeners and reviewers in this totally different country. People are surprised at the kind of countries they get reviews from, because they're usually thinking, okay, if you're a US-based podcast, you're thinking, okay, maybe US English-speaking countries, right? US, Canada, Australia, UK, right? You'll probably check those 4 countries, because it's this process of checking for each country is so painful. You're probably not going to check for more than 4 or 5 countries, and you're not going to do this all the time. You might do it once or twice a year. And I have reviews from France and Algeria, or a lot of different non-standard countries that I would not expect to have listeners, especially for English podcast and about marketing and stuff. I would not expect people listening from those countries, let alone leave me a review. So that's where my service comes in handy.
And that's exactly the problem that I have being in Canada, because of course I only see the Canadian reviews. So then when you send me a link to reviews.me, I logged in, set up a free account.
Right, podcastreviews.me.
Yeah, podcastreviews.me. And then, boom, all of a sudden there's the ones in Australia. Of course, now I can finally see the ones in the US, and it's great. It's really good. So then in the other countries that pop in, love it. So now with these reviews, now that we can see them, I was reading on the website on podcastreviews.me that you recommend that you can then share those reviews. Of course, that's going to help you to build social proof. So share your reviews on social media. Kind of take us through that process a little bit.
Right. So once you have the reviews, even if you are able to see your reviews on iTunes, you can't really highlight it, you copy it, paste it. You can't do anything with it except for take a screenshot, because the iTunes does not allow you to use your mouse and highlight a section of the review and copy or any of that stuff. There's no way to use the text from that other than to take a screenshot and post it on social. But here...
Or just to cut Jeff, or you have to sit down and actually type it out yourself, because you can't...
Exactly. You have to literally just have a split screen or go back and forth and literally type it out. And if you have 50, 100, 200 reviews, good luck with that. What this allows you to do is, in the members area, you can sort it by, 5 stars, show me the 5 stars first, or show me going descending order 5 to 1 or 1 to 5, and show me from a specific country, so you can sort it and filter it and rank it, and then you can select a specific review, and it allows you to post on social. So you click a button, now it opens up a Facebook tab, and there, it uses all the Facebook OG or Open Graph tags so that it fills out your image, just like if you shared a website, it'll fill out some of the text from the website, right? The heading, the title, the description, and the image and stuff. So it creates all those things for you, and you can just take that and post it on social. So it gives you some more another easy way to share your reviews. And if you wanted to be even more fancy, then you can copy the text. It's just regular text on the page. So you can copy it like you would copy text from a browser on any website. So you can slide your mouse across, you can copy it, you can paste it into Notepad, you can take it into your own website, use your own testimonials or, review plugin or theme feature or whatever it is, make it look fancy. You can put them all on your homepage. You can do a lot of different things with the reviews because now it's in text format, not stuck in just some image that you have to, there's no way to get the text out of.
That's a really good point. I never really thought of that. I know we do a lot of work with local businesses who get Google reviews and all kinds of reviews from, could be TripAdvisor, wherever, and those are all copyable, and we use them on their websites a lot as social proof to help, this is a good business, you want to go here because of all these people say so. Never really thought of it from the iTunes point of view, but you're right. If you had an easy way to be able to extract that data from iTunes, which is what podcastreviews.me allows you to do, now you've got exceptionally good content, all of these real reviews with ratings that you can actually add to your website and pretty much share it on social media. You said anywhere you'd like. There's all kinds of places you can use those.
Right. And even if you still want to do a screenshot, if it's easier to do a screenshot, then you can still do that too, because the review is already in a pretty format with the stars nicely and the heading big and bold. And so even the screenshot is like 100 times better than a screenshot you could get from iTunes, because that iTunes reviews are, light gray text on even lighter gray background, hard to read. The stars are like dull yellow, very small. And even if you rearrange for mobile screen, it doesn't really fit perfectly for whatever screen you're trying to format it to. So that's why even if you take a screenshot, if you don't want to copy, if you don't want to do all that work, you just take a screenshot. The default screenshot will be like 100 times prettier than what you'll get from iTunes.
That's great. On the topic of iTunes, I wonder if they're ever going to improve that interface. To me, it's so 2005. I don't think it's really changed much at all.
No, it hasn't. That's the unfortunate thing. And Apple, for all its money and how valuable they are, $800 billion or something, $1 trillion, something like that in market cap, they are very slow with their software. They're more of a hardware company, and even though their software is amazing, and I use iTunes, but if you see it over the last few years, things have fallen off, even with the hardware. MacBook Pro, there's so many issues, and iPhones, they have run into some controversies. So it's like, okay, they're trying to milk the iPhone thing a lot, but they're just not focused on some of the other aspects. And they've said it's coming. I'm in a couple of these podcast groups where people who are well connected with Apple, they say how they're going to do this app. But for me, I've been personally disappointed with the way Apple has, even though, it's like a first world problem, right? We wouldn't have podcasting, at least not to this level, at least not in 2018, if it were not for Apple just opening it up and creating the structure and allowing having a podcast directory. And then they were the first to offer a native podcast app, which absolutely was horrendous until recently, but a lot of people still use it because it's the native app that's right there on their phone. And as they become power users, they switch over to Overcast or Podcast Addict or Downcast or one of those other apps. I'm personally a fan of Overcast. That's what I use to listen to all of my podcasts. All these extra features, increased speed, boosted volume, and a whole bunch of other things. So Apple has always been slow, and their search is one of the worst in the industry. And I'm not talking just podcasting. I'm talking about any website you can think of in the world. They're among the worst searches. So if you type in, they only search certain number of fields. They only search. So if you typed in membership, right, membership site, they'll not search for episode descriptions, podcast description. They'll only search for a few, like podcast title, and I think maybe podcast description and podcast author field. It's like worse than 1995 Yahoo, where they literally had horrible search, and it was like search coded by a bunch of high schoolers who are just learning programming. So that's literally how. And I've actually had published an episode about it called why Apple's apathy towards podcasting, in spite of having done everything for it, they're also neglecting it a lot. Yeah. But hopefully now in the last 6 months or so, they introduced the podcast stats. They're opening it up. So good things are coming. You just have to have patience. Now Google has started Google Podcasts. Yeah. And so for Android users, and you can only grow higher from here. It's absolutely, we're in a great position right now. You bet. And podcasting is as hot and as popular as it has ever been. So
that's a fact. And that's our Apple rant for the day. And I do love them in a lot of ways. So
no, exactly, I do too. You like I said, first world problems, like how you have everything but you complain, oh, it's too hot, right? So it's like that. If Apple has given us so much, and I somehow find a way to complain, but pushing them is what makes them better, makes things better for everybody. And luckily listening to the podcast industry, and they've been working on it. They already released like a couple of versions of the Apple Podcasts app, which has made it slightly better. I still won't use it, but it's better for at least for the average person who just wants a native app to go on the iPhone app and on the iPhone platform. And Google pushing its competition is good for the industry as well. So there's a lot of new directories and stuff. So good competition is good.
You bet. So now let's go back to podcastreviews.me. And I want to just get quickly into talk about DAP or Digital Access Pass and a couple of the other services. But before we move on to those, share whatever else you'd like to about podcast reviews, including how listeners can go over to podcastreviews.me and get started.
Right. So it's a free service. So you just go to podcastreviews.me and there's a big sign up form at the top. You can sign up and you can get free reviews for one podcast. And if you're an agency or you work with clients or you have multiple podcasts and you don't want to sign up with 50 different email addresses and it's a pain, and you want better features like faster monitoring, and with the free version you get monitoring once a month. So we'll look at your reviews once a month and let you know by email if you have any new reviews. But with the paid versions you get faster monitoring, and we monitor like once a day, so you can be notified of reviews sooner if you have any of the paid features, as well as you can add multiple podcasts if you're an agency or you work with the podcasting clients.
Let me just ask this question just so I know. For between the two of you, your wife Veena and yourself, she's the developer, you're the brains?
No, we are both developers.
Okay.
To begin with, right? So At one point she started taking over DAP a few years ago, and she has now fully taken over development of DAP. I no longer do the development for DAP, except for very small things here and there, especially if it's like a bug in my area that I developed many years ago or some things like that. For the most part, like almost 99%, she's doing the development, and she has a team of people doing development and support. So she manages all. I do not manage any of that stuff. I manage the operations day to day, the server stuff, the marketing, the coordination, and all the paying the bills and making sure it's almost like a CT, and not a CTO. I don't know what you call it. I don't care, but I pick up the pieces because she is super busy. She works like crazy hours. She has so many people reporting to her.
Yeah.
I have never been good at managing people or having a team work with me, so I prefer to freelance and move to different parts of the business as and when needed, working with the accountants and vendors and all that stuff. And then that gives me a lot of time to work on other stuff. So the other pieces are Coolcast Player, that's my baby, and podcast reviews. And I've developed a bunch of other stuff on the side for podcasters. Obviously, for Digital Access Pass, we have like a platinum membership where every plugin we develop, our members get for free if you're a platinum member. So whatever I develop or whatever she develops, like for recently, she launched a really awesome new plugin called FB Lead Machine, which is a fantastic new plugin. It's available at fbleadmachine.com. So if you go, basically, it allows you to not even have to type in a name and an email. You have a Facebook sign up button. So you click on it and you're logged in to the members area, and you can have something behind. It's like a lock, right? You can have hidden content behind the Facebook sign up part. Okay. So you just click one button and one click sign up, and you're logged in. The site owner gets your good email, Facebook email, and there's no double opt-in, there's no nothing, there's no going back and confirming and coming back, nothing. It's like on the page. So you go to a page, so it shows you an ebook or a video and says, click here to sign up, one click button, right? And you click on it, boom, you're done. So you can watch.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really, really. So she keeps coming up with ideas. I keep coming up with ideas. I'm moving away from the just all WordPress plugins alone. So I have a coaching program, and here and there I develop a plugin. That's what Coolcast Player was, developing a podcast player and an audio player.
Tell us about Coolcast Player I know with the Blueberry PowerPress plugin, which I love, but the player itself is a little weak, and you've come in behind that. with a player that absolutely rocks. Why don't you explain a little bit of the thinking behind that, and where, of course, at coolcastplayer.com where they can find it.
So if you go to coolcastplayer.com, you can see it, and you can actually see it on my own homepage at subscribeme.fm, where I use it for my own podcast. You can see a beautiful playlist player. And one of the biggest things for me as a marketer was when somebody comes to my podcast website, I want to promote my podcast front and center, right? A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll put a player either using from their web host or by the WordPress native player, which is workable. It's not great, but it's workable. So they'll create a post for that episode, and they'll put a player at the top of that episode. And if you're using the PowerPress player, it'll create a player for you at the top or at the bottom, depending on how you set it up. And all that's great. But if I go to your homepage, if I can't listen to straight away, it's like a table of contents, right? A playlist is nothing but not only allows me to sample a bunch of episodes right away, but it also allows me just the way it's formatted, the playlist. I can see what are your topics and what are your titles of all the episodes. So it almost gives me like a look inside for Amazon for a book before I buy it. Just looking at the table of contents, I can say, okay, whether this book makes sense for me or not, the topics that this person is talking about, whether it makes sense. And then I can quickly sample everything right from the homepage without having to click post after post after post. A lot of people, that's how they structure it, and they're missing out on a lot of listeners. And just by putting a playlist front and center, right at the top, above the fold, anybody coming to your podcast website or even your regular website, they can see, oh, there's a playlist. Let me click play here, and they listen to one episode. Maybe it interests them. They can look at the titles of the other ones, and then there are the other power features, like you can embed. You can take a copy once you're embedded, put the player on a page. You can send an embed code of an individual player to a guest. So if you have a guest on your podcast, and instead of just sending them a link and saying, hey, promote it on your social media feed, you can actually give them, or telling them, hey, send everybody over to my website, which a lot of people may be reluctant to do so, right? Everybody builds their list with a lot of time, effort, and care. And the last thing you want to do is send out an email broadcast to your whole list saying, go check out this other podcast, my podcast. Even though I'm the guest, I'm sending it over to a third-party website. Instead, if you give me a code that I can put on my website, then I can say, oh, here it is. Go check it out. It's on my website, right? I'm not sending my people to a third-party website that they don't know about. I'm sending them to my website. So you get as the podcaster, you get the credit for the download because it counts against your podcast hosting account. And then I get to put the player as a guest on my website and keep my subscribers within my own walled garden, so to speak. So it's a win-win. So that allows you to ask your guest to promote you without worrying about them losing their audience to you. And you can also use that embed code yourself to embed on different websites of your own. So if you're coming up with a new product or new page or coming soon website, you can embed it everywhere you have a page. And you could even embed the list playlist at the bottom of every post. So like with a blog, you see how somebody goes to a blog, you read the article, at the bottom you'll see more links you might be interested in. Here's some more articles. So more resources, right? You can have a box that links to a bunch of other articles. Similarly, you can have your playlist at the bottom of every post. Whether you have a podcast blog or not, you can embed it anywhere, any website, on any page. So anybody who finishes reading your article at the bottom, they can see your player and they can remain on your page. It increases the stickiness, makes the Google gods happy. So there's a whole bunch of benefits to that, having a dedicated, powerful player that also looks great.
You bet. Now, Digital Access Pass, or DAP as you affectionately call it, as you mentioned, you started that in 2008. I'm familiar with it because I use it, and I have a client that we won't talk a lot about because we've had some fun with him. But DAP, as you call it, of course, it's a WordPress membership software program that podcasters can use to monetize their website using your software and basically selling subscriptions. And you and I had a chance to talk about this at length in another episode where we talked about membership sites and subscriptions for podcasters. And we talked for about an hour, just over an hour on that. And it was fascinating. And the software itself has some incredible features that I actually have never seen before in other membership site software plugins. So why don't you give us a few minutes on it, talk a little bit about it, and then we can send everybody over to who are interested to have a listen to that other episode. But tell us about DAP.
Right. So DAP is arguably the best membership plugin for WordPress, even if I say so myself. And so when you have a website, and if it's WordPress, and you have content you are creating, and you want to be able to monetize that content, right? So there's no point in just blogging for years and years and years without being able to monetize it. So at some point, when you want to monetize it, you can only do affiliate links for so long. So at some point, you decide to create an online course. You want to take a bunch of articles or create a video or some audio files, special audio, premium audio, and you take all of that. You want to put it into an online course about something specific. So how do you do that? If you have a WordPress site and you're creating content and you have videos and PDF and audio, how do you take it all together? How do you put it on a page, protect that page from non-members? And then when somebody wants to become a member, how do you accept payments? And after they accept payments, where do they go? How do you create an account? You need to automate the creation of an account. And then where do they log in? And what do they get a welcome email? And what happens if they forget the password? The login, the password, the members area, and the login, you need to be able to show them what they bought and how to access those pages. And those pages should be able to be accessible only to paying members and not non-paid members. And if they pass around the link, what happens? They should not get to it. And if they pass around the password, what happens? They should get locked out after a certain number of attempts. So all these things, if you think about, that happens behind the scenes seamlessly in a members area, in a membership site, anything that has a login and a password, all those things DAP automates. So Digital Access Pass was the first ever WordPress membership plugin. And over the last 3-4 years, Veena has taken it to some level. She's nonstop developing and improving stuff. And today, I would be the most comfortable out of all the years calling it the best membership plugin, because that's how much work has gone into it. And all credit to Veena and her team. Very little credit to me, but I'll take all of it. No problem. So, yeah, it's amazing. And the thing is, with DAP, it's not just DAP, right? We have developed a suite of plugins around DAP, wicked cool plugins. So if you are a membership site owner, so you want to have a playlist, right, for audio, boom, you have Coolcast players. You don't want to put media on your own web host, because a lot of web hosts are not exactly geared for large downloads and massive downloads. So you need to have Amazon S3. So how do you connect to Amazon S3 and insert a link securely into your members area? So we have s3mediavault.com. And how do you promote stuff, and how do you get people to easily sign up? You have FB Lead Machine, and so on and on and on. We have created, and the best plugin of them all, which is probably becoming bigger than DAP at some point, is Veena's smartpaycart.com. That's arguably the best shopping cart platform for WordPress. So you can easily create new products, create payment and buttons, and create a shopping cart, add to cart, pre-order bump, accept Bitcoin payments. It's like endless array of features, and it's all WordPress. So it's absolutely beautiful UI. It's like the best product we've ever created, because she created it from scratch. And she works with customers every day who are asking her for this feature, that feature. So she gets all the requirements, and she creates a vision for that, and she implements the best features that will impact most buyers. And now, like, along with DAP and Smart Pay Cart and all this other suite of plugins that we've developed, there's absolutely, even if I say so myself, there's no better solution there available for somebody who wants to do it all with WordPress.
Yeah.
And we offer consultation and brainstorming, and we have concierge sessions and everything with the Platinum membership. So we have the whole package.
You bet. I 100% vouch for it. Before we go, and we're coming up at a time, because I think this is one cool little feature that a lot of webmasters don't think about when they're working on their site. And it's a nice, easy way into the membership program or having a membership area on your website. And you talked about that at length in the other episode. But just the ability, because everybody has should have. I shouldn't say that everybody doesn't have a killer opt-in offer, but they should have. For those people that have an opt-in offer, we're so used to over the years using Aweber and one of those email platforms to serve up that opt-in offer to somebody who quote unquote subscribes. Your take on this, which I have completely bought into, is don't do that. Put them into the membership software. And of course, it's free. When they log in, there it is. They get their free booklet, their free audio, whatever you're giving away. But use membership software instead of Aweber or one of those competitive products to them. Talk to that if you could just for a moment.
Right. So even when you're giving away a free product, instead of, I'll always recommend do not just deliver content by email, because let's say you have a report or a video. You can't attach a huge video or a huge PDF or a huge audio file to an email, because if they're looking at it on their mobile phone, it'll kill the data plan and suck up all their data. And it's not a standard to send large video files. And a lot of email clients may not even accept more than 2 MB, 5 MB of attachment. So you should never send a membership any kind of files by attachment. You always need to send a link to it, and then they'll click on that and go to that page. On that page, and the advantage of sending everybody to your website is that you can cookie them, right? You can set your retargeting pixels for Facebook and Google. You have the Google Analytics code. You can promote your other offers, related offers, and you can build a much better relationship than just by email. So that's why when somebody signs up, you want to be able to send them to a page where they're logged in automatically, and you got their email, and they're able to get the feeling of now they're in, right inside. They're inside the walled garden. They're now part of something special. It's not just an email and saying, hey, go download this PDF link directly. It's not that. It's about sending them to a page, making them feel part of the community, having a welcome email, having a welcome video there, welcoming them to the members area, telling them what to expect, and giving them some bonuses. And if they want to have something else, and if you send them a link in the future, they click on it, it'll say log in here, or you can also log in and say remember me. So everything makes it like part of a community, part of a walled garden, and you're either in or you're out, right? So if you're in, you're part of the community, welcome to the family, so kind of thing. So that gives you a whole different experience. Even if you're offering a free PDF, it's better to offer it in the members area than to just put them directly on Aweber and send them an email directly to the PDF link, which is very impersonal. You get to, if you bring it back to the website, you get to build a much more. And your website, it has to be your website instead of sending them to some random third-party page or third-party website to download something. Things like Google Drive or Dropbox, they're not recommended for membership content. So always put it on Amazon S3, send them to your website where they log in, and now they become a part of your community.
Yes, and any other content that you add there in the future, as you said, they're already in the membership area. They may have to pay to upgrade, but that content's right in front of them.
Right, and every time they go to download something, you can show them other stuff. Say, here's the new thing, right? And then they click on it, it'll say, sorry, you don't have access, but here's how you can upgrade. So you can do subtle upselling, and you can offer them extra bonus content. You can do an order bump, or you can do special offers which expire on a certain date. So they click on a link, it goes there. In DAP, you can set it up so that a page is available from only this date to that date, or you can say, only show this from day 3 to day 5, starting with when they joined. So you can do a lot of cool things with DAP in terms of content delivery and content protection.
You bet. First class. All right, I can see, let's do a quick speed round, then we'll wrap her up and call it a day. So these are the same questions I asked you last time. And I think maybe because you've been on twice before, I should probably cross-reference them to see which direction you're going, Windows or Mac.
Windows. Always.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes somebody will say Windows and then they'll go iPhone. Nobody ever says Mac and then Android, ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Cat or dog person?
Dog.
Most recently read book?
I don't read books anymore, in the sense that I get all my information from online courses, watching webinars and podcasts. And if I need to know anything, I just buy their course or buy their program or coaching, whatever it is. I pay for it. I don't read regular books anymore, unfortunately. I get a lot more in-depth information from talking to them directly. I might even hire somebody if I think they have some great information. Yeah, but my favorite book is some of Seth Godin's book, and then this one from Dan Ariely called Predictably Rational.
Favorite vacation spot?
Ooh, we prefer traveling abroad because, in the USA, we've seen a lot of places and they all pretty much start to look alike. So right now, so far, Vancouver has to be among the top of our favorite places. I got to say that. Yeah, Vancouver's probably so far.
We'll take that. Now, we already know the answer to this one. Are you a techie or not a techie?
Total techie.
This will be a great one for you. What's an online tool you use every day and you only get one that you would hate to have to live without?
The easy ones would be like email, right? So that would be my email client. But if I say something I use every day, and it would be a cop-out to say DAP, because obviously we manage our members and everything else, and whole business depends on it. So I won't say that. Let's see. I think GoToWebinar.
Okay.
GoToMeeting. So we do a lot of calls, like how you're doing with Zoom. We do a lot of calls with our clients, coaching calls. And then for personal productivity, I use something called Wunderlist. That's huge productivity thing for me, because every time I'm running or doing anything or driving, if I get an idea, I dump everything out. I don't keep anything in my head, because once you put it on paper, and then you can plan and you can say, okay, that's okay. I don't have to do this right now. And the easiest way to get past shiny object syndrome is to put it on paper and make a note of it and move it aside, so that it's not taking up space in your primary memory. But you know that you also lost the idea, so there's no urgency there.
Great advice. What do you do for fun?
Oh, we watch basketball. We are huge NBA. My whole family is NBA basketball fans. We are LeBron James fans who just moved teams from Cleveland Cavaliers to Los Angeles Lakers. We've been LeBron fans since 2003, but we have always been far away fans. Never been in his city. For the first time, we are home team fans, and we have hated the Lakers for a very long time. Because they have been, it's the same way for Laker fans too. They've hated LeBron for so long, but now that he's on their team, so now we're all getting used to it. But it's all good.
What's the most rewarding thing that you've been able to do for someone else because of your business?
I guess being able to help them monetize, right? Because people try to do this, start out saying they have the job, but they won't start doing something on the side, and they want to be able to monetize it, but sometimes they don't know how to. So being able to help my coaching clients, and of course with the DAP users as well, who sign up for a concierge, and I both do the calls and different parts. So just being able to help somebody and see them take their business from zero to $1,000 or $5,000 or $50,000, just being able to be there with them for the journey. I can't take credit for any of it, because it's their intellectual property, their hustle and everything else, but just being able to help them here and there a little bit, just like a coach, like a trainer who helps you with the little things, but they still have to do the work, but you're able to zoom out for them and tell them these are the things that you could focus on, and then when you see that them putting in the work and they see results, and they send you a testimonial where they're so happy, or they just answer in a support ticket saying, and the best thing about that is, when somebody tells you, we love your podcast, or we loved your YouTube, or whatever it is, when you get back that feedback, that's probably the best feeling ever.
You bet. Where can listeners learn more? Why don't you share those website addresses once more? Plus, we'll put them in the show notes.
Sure. The main website is subscribeme.fm, where I have listed all my products and services, and you can see my podcast player right at the top. And obviously, the podcast reviews website is podcastreviews.me, and the player is coolcastplayer.com. But you can find all the links at subscribeme.fm.
Wonderful. Ravi, always a pleasure to have you on. Look forward to having you back again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I can see we are out of time. Do keep in mind that if there's something that Ravi mentioned here today, which was an absolute ton, or you'd like to review what he talked about today, that we do keep all the show notes for you, including links to everything that was mentioned, and you can find the show notes for this particular episode at podcastingmastery.com/PM071. And just a quick invitation again to those who haven't yet subscribed. To unleash your podcasting potential, I invite you to subscribe to get access to some of the top podcasters on the planet. And if you happen to be on our website or in a podcasting directory such as iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, or any one of your favorites, or you happen to be on our new YouTube channel, I invite you to take just a moment and click on that subscribe button now. Ravi, thanks again, and to all of our podcasting friends. We'll catch you in the next episode of Podcasting Mastery.
Thanks for joining us on the Secret Beach Hut Studio. If you are ready to start your podcasting adventure and to learn the secrets of podcasting your way to a stress-free lifestyle, go ahead and download the free Podcasting Mastery Checklist at podcastingmastery.com/checklist and start your adventure today. But don't wait, the checklist won't be free for long. So be sure to grab your free copy today at podcastingmastery.com/checklist.